Hi, Kevin Keller, field agronomist with Pioneer out South Central Nebraska, here for another agronomy update. This time we're going to be talking about the benefits of pre-watering as we head into the 26th season. So this year, as we head into spring, it feels awfully reminiscent of last year with 25, starting off very dry. So feels awfully familiar with what we saw. A lot of the weather experts are saying that we're going to switch off into an El Nino pattern, possibly a neutral phase, come more or less June and July. So again, feels very similar to what we experienced in 2025 at this point. The whole idea with pre-watering is really to try to maximize the stand establishment. Same thing that we're trying to do with field prep, with getting planters ready to go. Same thing with pre-watering. We want to make sure that those conditions are as ideal as we can get them to get off to the right start as we head into the spring. So why pre-irrigation can help, it really goes back to making sure that we have a better condition for planting. I would much rather create a better condition ahead with pre-irrigation for planting rather than try to fix that condition by chasing the planter with the pivot. In a lot of cases, running irrigation after we plant works just fine. With these conditions being so dry, we have seen a lot of benefits to pre-watering. We want to have uniform water uptake. A corn seed, for an example, will imbibe about 30% of its weight in moisture, and ideally we'd like to see that done in about the first 4 to 12 hours. We can also reduce a lot of chemistry concentration risk, and also this is going to help reduce risk with our in-furrow fertilizers especially, but any kind of salt that we have close to that seed, it's going to help reduce any sort of injury we might see, including anhydrous burn. Other things to keep in mind, last year we dried out awfully quickly after we pre-irrigated some of these fields. Soybeans especially, we can abide water very quickly, but they can also dry out very quickly. And because of that cycling of wet to dry, we did see some loss in germination last year with those cases. So keep an eye on fields after we plant, especially if it would be windy, and they would dry out fairly quickly. If we are planting into some pretty dry conditions, we can use a lot more down pressure than what we typically would run. But ideally, we would like to see planting in conditions where we're roughly 70 to 85% of field capacity. In a sandy soil, we should be able to produce and make a loose ball with the soil. In a silt loam soil, we should be able to rib in that soil with our fingertips. Also, too, this is something I can't stress enough. If we go into dry conditions, let's make sure to adjust or at least think about what we're doing with our in-furrow fertilizers. Even low salt fertilizers can become toxic to the seed and create some issues. In fact, that's where this picture came from last year, was a case where on a sandy soil that was pretty dry. We still saw some salt injury with a so-called low salt fertilizer. So my suggestion would be to take those fertilizers out if we're actually in a dry condition. Again, for your in-furrow, not worried about the 2x2 near as much or anything like that. We can replace some of those products, either reduce your rate down to maybe 2 or 3 gallon. You can water that down if you're using like let's say a traditional 5-gallon rate. However, again, there are other products that we can consider. We do have Nexta as a line of biologicals under the Pioneer umbrella as one alternative. We have speed boxes that can help establish a lot of the same goals with pop-up and having that uniform emergence and germination, as well as some other side benefits that we have in that pail as well. But there are things to think about and navigate there. Definitely think about what that salt load is going to look like in a dry condition, though. With that, thank you for your time with this agronomy update.
That concludes this Pioneer Agronomy video podcast. Visit our page on pioneer.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook for more agronomy insights.